Hello, everyone, and good day to everyone. Welcome to all of you. I thought to start off, I would like to acknowledge and thank Dr. Harbeen Arora Rai, the founder who has pioneered the start of all these amazing platforms, which are held together by inspiring gender equality and empowerment champions across the world. Through these movements, the All Ladies League, Women Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the Women Economic Forum, Shikonomy, and G100. Thank you so much, Dr. Harbeen, for making this possible for all of us to really come together to create something far greater. I would also like to thank our global president, Dr. Hartini, who has done some remarkable work in taking G100 to another level altogether. So, G100 has pioneered the ELLEGOSSE Framework. The acronym encapsulates the common themes globally as levers of gender equality and empowerment. And we would like to know what they are for sure. So we start off with education, legislation, leadership, empowerment, governance, ownership, security, sustainability, solidarity, and equality. These are the strong 10 principles that we have as part of the ELLEGOSSE framework. And to add to that, we have 10 recommendations for each of these principles, thus making it an overall of 100 recommendations. These are presented from the G100 to the G20 leaders, as also to the government worldwide, including intergovernment entities and multilateral flora, such as across the United Nations, the EU, the AU, the G7, ASEAN, SAARC, and Quad, as also universities, foundations, corporates, institutions, think tanks, civil societies, networks, NGOs, and international organizations. Together, we create a ripple effect that empowers millions of gender champions with the global vision and grassroots engagement, fostering a collective wave of change that bridges gaps and builds a brighter future for all. So that is why our Eligos framework was created, and it is growing from strength to strength. I'm very pleased to say that. Well, my name is Jennifer Randiv, and I am going to be your host today. I also am the global chair for the Eligos Endorsement Wing. Now, I have a question. We all want change, but here we are to see change in action. Today, it gives me great pleasure to be inviting one of our Eligos Endorsement Wing partners. I remember a year back, I called this gentleman and shared with him the Eligos framework, the principles, and the recommendations. And without hesitation, he said, sign me up. Allow me to welcome Sir Dr. Chirstopher Abraham to join me. He
Hello,
has been
everyone.
knighted. He has been knighted, okay, as CEO, Dubai Campus Director, Executive Education, SPJ School of Global Management, a four-time TEDx speaker, an international conference keynote speaker, behavioral scientist, and a design thinker. Welcome, 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 Doctor. Should I
My
call you
pleasure.
Doctor? Should I call you Sir? How should I address you?
Whatever you're comfortable.
Okay. Well, I'm going to call you Doctor or Doc,
Sure.
if I may.
Yeah.
Um, it has been a year, Doctor,
Mm.
since I remember giving you a call and you endorsing the ELLEGOSSE framework.
That's right.
I have some questions, right, for you. The first one
Mhm.
is, what motivated you to actually endorse the ELLEGOSSE framework? I
That's a
remember you
very
mentioning something. I remember you mentioning something. I'd like you to share it with the audience as well.
So I have a personal story, a background that probably emphasizes the importance of women in our lives.
So
Yeah.
I was born in the south of India. Mom was a
Mm,
teacher and
mm,
Loving, caring, compassionate, all the good things that a mom does.
mhm,
And I was nurtured in the best of best family environments. But then, like every youngster, you deviate. And here was a mother who was so committed, so devoted, and ensured through prayer, passion, and fortune
mm.
to ensure that I would come back on track. Things were fine. Then I had a sister, an only sister who was 1.5 to 2 years younger than me. Again,
Yeah.
she took the role of the big sister who,
Mm,
ensured, despite of going around, to come
mm.
back to the right track. So those two women were the first starting points. And then, by the grace of God, got married to a woman whose life was dedicated to prayer and commitment. So,
Wonderful.
again, you have a wife who ensured that the path of glory is again
Yeah.
ensured. And
Mm,
then God, in His infinite mercy, gave me a beautiful daughter who then took
yeah.
up the role. So these four women have had a tremendous impact on my formation, my values, my character, my belief systems. And so I've always had this high regard for women. And I've never felt any disparity, any inequality. I always felt, these are the people who really made you. So I still, commit my life. I say, dedicate whatever I am today is because of these four women.
so for me, it was a very special day. I was invited for many women's forums. We run a very extensive women's leadership program, which is extremely popular.
I'm part of the board. I'm on the board of the International Board of
Yes.
Directors. So
Yes. I
when
remember.
Endorsement approached me, I said, come on, this is another one where we should lend our strength. So anything that brings equality, I don't believe in superiority. I believe in equal rights, equality. Women are as much capable and remarkable when it comes to doing anything. I believe that. So that's probably the motivation. When you called me, I
I
said yes, I want to do it.
yeah, I remember it was such a pleasant surprise, you know,
Yeah.
to find someone like yourself who's so highly educated and well respected in the community here in the UAE as well as abroad, to be
Yeah.
able to come in and actually want to do something of this. So thank you very much. The reason that I wanted to invite you back to have a conversation, Doc, is that we always are doing things. We always are coming into, signing up people, endorsing people, etc. But I wanted to know and call you back after 1 year. It has been a year now, and that's why I wanted to call you back, and ask you, and to share with everyone um, what were the different things. So I've got a couple of questions for you, if
Sure.
that's okay. Okay. So, which of the Eligos framework principles did you actually use in SB Jain Global School of Government, of Management, I
Yeah.
beg your pardon? And
Sure.
did you adopt them successfully? Which ones were they?
Yeah. So obviously, the first choice was education because we are
Yes.
in the field of higher education. So
Mm,
obviously, the focus was also on ensuring gender parity, have adequate number of women students, and over the period of time, we have ensured that there is a judicious balance. In
mm,
fact, last week I completed a course
For our master's students, and I was delightfully surprised to see that the women students outnumbered the male students.
So that
Yeah.
was yeah. So that was a very interesting insight. I said, okay, so a lot more women are coming in. Similarly, if you see our master's programs in artificial
Mm,
intelligence and data science,
yeah.
initially you would find a lopsided percentage towards men, hardly any women. But over a period of time, we are seeing more and more women entering into tech-related, curriculum as well, tech-related subjects as well. So that gives me a great deal of, comfort that women are,
Right.
this is a backstory to it. So in the 70s and 80s, SAT scores. SAT is the mathematical analytical tests done for university admissions. The general trend used to be that men were always better than women when it came to SAT scores. Till a bunch of professors decided to alter that paradigm. So they actually educated women before taking the test. They said, listen, women are as good, if not better than men when it comes to taking SAT scores, SAT tests, math skills, so on and so forth. The moment they were made aware that they are as, trust me, there was a complete flip in
Complete
terms of,
change. Absolutely.
yeah, proof of the pudding, that a lot of times ignorance drives people not to take the right decision. So in our case as well, so we consciously that women students get into the right careers, be it finance, be it computer science, be it data science, be it artificial intelligence. So there's no holds barred anywhere, everywhere with women.
True.
And when Peter Williams went on space, I think that was the last frontier that women had to conquer, and she did it in style. So I think it's the mindset shift that is required. That's why I gave the example of the SAT tests. And once we
Yes.
shift that, remarkable things happen. So
Yeah.
education, yes.
Brilliant. So education. Good.
Leadership, of course, I teach leadership. I'm a leadership coach. I'm a leadership professor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, so there has definitely some very interesting. Yeah. So a focus on ethical leadership, conscious leadership,
authentic leadership.
Leadership.
So
Yeah.
again, so
I've also noticed that you're doing something on sustainability as well, Doctor.
that's a big thing
Yeah.
for us. So a few years back,
So
a conscious decision taken by the board that we need to move towards. So it's not greenwashing, but genuine, sustainable initiatives.
yes.
And
Yeah,
when it
and it
comes
is
to
it.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah, go ahead.
there's a lot of stuff that is being talked about on sustainability. It's not just the buildings. It's about having sustainable relationships. It's about having sustainable ways of operations, sustainable systems that are going to be, you know, helping people to move forward in a way that is really going to make a remarkable change. I believe those things are really essential as far as sustainability goes as well. So,
So this, yeah, you're right. So this actually
is underlined by a phenomenon called a shift. So earlier, the focus was always about profits, and more profits.
so
yes.
today is a genuine, discernible, consensus shift towards three things: planet,
Mm,
purpose, and
mm,
profit. I repeat,
right.
planet, purpose, and profit, and the sequence is important. So the top
Yeah.
priority is the planet. We have only one planet,
Mm,
and that planet is what has been given to us by God Almighty. So
yes.
it's our ownership, the responsibility, stewardship,
Ownership. Yes.
so
Yes.
that we leave it proper for our generations. So I
True.
think this
Very
green
true.
wave is now a global movement. It's
Hmm.
cut across sectors from
Hmm.
government, which talks about 2050 zero emissions, so on and so forth. And
Hmm.
then you have corporates, conscious corporates, which are doing it
Hmm.
across the world. And it boils down to college, university, and school students. So
Yes.
there's been a ripple effect that happens. And
Do
the
you,
good news,
sir?
yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Please. No. 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 I just wanted to ask you: do you see a remarkable shift in the way education is being imbibed into different, whether universities or colleges or schools? Have you seen a shift in how education is actually performing? And have you found that the different recommendations that we have put in the ELLEGOSSE is also a way of looking at things in a different perspective?
Oh, yeah. So what we
right?
did was a conscious decision to embed these
Mm.
principles of sustainability.
Yeah.
So, for example, our MBA program, which has about 35 subjects or 35 modules,
Mm.
every single module, I'm not exaggerating, every single module would have components of sustainability embedded within it. So it's not
Exactly.
one subject. If you see, it's like greenwashing. You'd have one subject that talks sustainability management and the story. But here, what we did, that's not going to work. So we said in every subject, we need to bring in the elements and components and
Yes.
understanding of. That
Yes.
was number one. Number two, what we did consciously through little actions, and this is a very interesting story. Little actions, like being the head of the institution, simple instructions of switch off the light and the aircon when you leave the room.
Yes. Yes.
And I didn't realize there was somebody who was observing it. We are at the academic city, and if you come at
Mm.
6 or 7 o'clock at night, you would
Mm.
find the city. I mean, all the buildings lit bright. Apparently, the local power company had observed that there's one building that, which after 8 or 9, whenever business is over,
Mm-hmm.
gets switched off. So we get a call from the Dubai Electricity and Water Authority saying,
Dubai. Yeah.
we've been observing your energy consumption and your power behavior. We'd
Mhm.
like to honor you. So a few years back,
Wonderful.
an award for energy conservation. We didn't do it
Yeah.
because we got an award. We didn't even
Yeah.
realize.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I
I'm
think
trying
that's such a. It makes such an impact. These little things. I think we
little
have to
things,
move forward. Simple things. Exactly.
culture, everybody conscious that you have to. This is our planet. This is our
Absolutely.
building. This is our energy, and we need to conserve it. So things like this started working. Then a few years back, we said we need to start a center for sustainability. There was this remarkable
Mm.
professor, a lady professor, who jumped on it. She said, "This is my life passion." She took it on her shoulders. I directly mentor her.
Mm.
And today, as we speak, the entire Singapore campus is complete solar panels. So we have complete energy coming from solar. In Dubai, there are a whole range of things, plastic free, no plastic bottles, no plastic. And we have ensured that the simple sustainable principles are embedded and practiced.
Wonderful.
Then,
I mean,
yes,
that's
in some
amazing.
yeah, yeah, subjects. For example, I teach a course on design thinking for my artificial intelligence students. The final project is an AI solution or micro level challenge in one of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So you may
Yes.
talk about poverty, you may talk about clean water, you may talk about sanitation, you may talk about women's empowerment, but you have to identify a micro problem and then provide an AI enabled solution with
Wonderful.
the principles. And we get some sustainable experts, UN experts to come and actually vet the students. So
That's
there's a lot of
amazing.
effort
Amazing.
towards doing. Last year we
That's
won an
wonderful.
award. Yeah, we won a sustainability award.
Not a surprise. Not a surprise. Not a surprise at all. Anyway, I'd like to know how have you been able to integrate the principles that we've shared with you as part of the ELLEGOSSE endorsement as part of your own systems and policies? I know you've given a couple of some examples here, but could you be kindly a little more specific as to what did you actually were you able to integrate as part of your policies? We can't hear you, Doc. There's no sound. No sound. I think you take off the headphones. Maybe that will work. You haven't got headphones on. For everyone listening, we are in conversation with Dr. Christopher Abraham, who also happens to be on our global advisory for the G100 ELLEGOSSE endorsement wing. We're having a bit of technical difficulties. Please bear with us. In the meantime, whoever's there, thank you very much for being there. Siji, I see you're there. And Annabelle,
Hello, can you hear me?
yeah, you're back. Thank you for
All right.
being here, Annabelle and Siji. Um, anyone would like to ask questions, put them in here so we can actually pick them up and ask Dr. Abraham anything. So my question to you, Doc, was how were you able to integrate these principles as part of your own systems and policies?
So as I said, every one of these 10 principles are, embedded, very simple, straightforward, right from
Yes.
education to legislation, leadership,
Mm,
empowerment. So let me give
mm,
you an example now on empowerment and governance.
mm,
So one thing we realized when we looked at the board, our academic board, our board of directors,
mhm,
initially it was lopsided in favor of men. And then we took a conscious decision. Hey, we need to have a balance, right? So
mhm,
governance, when it comes today, it's almost 50-50, where we have equal number of women board of directors, women in the academic board, so on and so forth. Empowerment, I mean, that's been there, our mantra from day zero. So
always,
it was
always,
like
yes.
augmenting, exactly. So it was like augmenting it. So if we see in
Mhm,
some of the top positions across our campuses in Dubai, Singapore, Sydney, Mumbai, London, and of course, California, you will
mm,
find a lot of leaders at the apex level who are women and who've been
mhm,
empowered to take a lot of decisions. So that's
mm,
another thing I think we have ensured. Sustainability, I spoke to you about.
mm,
That's been
mm,
another important thing.
mm.
Equality, again, as I said, I'm very proud to say that for campuses, the gender balance is 50 to 52% in favor of women vis-a-vis men. And we're very happy about that.
Wonderful.
And it's
Congratulations.
one
It's inspiring to hear that things are
absolutely.
shifting and changing. Wonderful. The difference I'd like to ask, the what difference have you seen with the Eligos principles that made things shift and change operationally within the college, between the students, between the faculty? I mean, are they excited? Are they motivated? I think you've shared a couple of examples already. But what impact do you think it's creating for operations within the college and as a result externally as well? How
So
does it
it's very
impact?
simple. Yeah. Women,
Hmm,
when they come into a decision making system, a decision making
hmm,
environment,
hmm,
bring a whole set of interesting, personalized perspectives. Let me give you an example. So, COVID hit us. And when
hmm,
COVID hit us, like all institutions across the world, we were affected. But guess what? The women leaders of our organization were able to bring the empathy emphasis to ensure that that message went out loud and clear. While men were focused on the operational excellence and how do we keep things running, the women ensured that how do we keep the human emotions effectively running, right? So that's the uh, balance that we are talking about. So I
I think it
think,
is.
yeah,
No, what I'm saying, Doc, just to add to that, I think that is so necessary.
absolutely.
simply, simply because it's not about women having
No,
to prove that they're men. No, we
yeah,
don't want that. And it's
no,
not
no,
about men being jeopardized and being pushed aside to make them feel like, oh my, now it's a woman's
box.
world. I think
Yeah,
what you've stated beautifully is when we can come together and enhance what it is that's going on, bringing the women's perspective. You talked about
absolutely.
empathy and bringing the gentleman's perspective of operations, and maybe the men and women would be able to mix all of that. And I, as I say all the time, talent has no gender agenda.
Absolutely. And excellence has no gender, it's a gender agnostic.
Absolutely.
I'm
Absolutely.
reminded of God creating Adam and Eve. He didn't create an Adam and an Adam. Neither did he create Eve and an Eve. He created an Adam and an Eve. And if you're familiar
Exactly.
with the scriptures,
Mm.
it
Yes, of
says
course.
after he created them, he blessed them and said,
Mm.
"Go forth and multiply.
mm, mm,
So
mm,
that multiplication cannot happen with man alone
mm.
or with woman alone. I think there's a very profound truth behind that scripture, that together you come and you inherit the land, the kingdom, whatever, and you bless it and you multiply it. So that's where it
Uh,
is.
we have a question from Mr. Subramaniam,
Hmm.
who is also our global advisor. He says, "Does Eligos a business make business sense, and if so, how?"
You
Good
want to
one.
answer that? You want me to
Yes.
answer that?
No, it's been addressed to you,
Okay.
so feel free to answer.
Oh, sure. So let me put a framework in place. We all understand the concepts of capitalism on which
Mhm.
global business runs. But there are two types of capitalism as we now understand. One, which is now called, labeled as casino capitalism, a capitalism mantra created by uh, an economist called Milton Friedman. It's also known as Friedmanomics, which was a very lopsided, twisted, very, I would say, unethical way of doing business. Okay, it's called Friedmanomics. You can go Google it. Milton Friedman, ironically, even won the Nobel
Yes.
Prize. He had such a tremendous influence on global affairs. And he virtually corrupted the mindset of business. Then in 2001, when the mother of all scandals happened, the Enron scandal happened. One was the regulatory awareness. So
Mm.
you had the Sarbanes-Oxley Act that came in, SOX as we call it. And there were other people who were seriously saying, is there a good way, a nice way, or a better way of doing business? And thus was born the movement called conscious capitalism. So one was the casino capitalism,
It- yeah.
and conscious capitalism is today called karma capitalism. Is what you
Okay.
sow, is what you
Mhm.
reap.
This is what you reap.
It's no longer a feel-good buzzword. Three
Mm,
professors, Rajendra Sisodia, Jagdish
mm,
Sheth, and David Wolf, went ahead to create a research methodology, a framework to say how good business practices can translate into good business profits. So they created a framework called firms of endearment, which in very simple terms, for an endearment is a firm of love. And then the question arises, who do you love? And the answer is you don't love one person, a stakeholder, shareholder. You love society, you love suppliers and distributors, you love investors, you love customers, and you love employees. It's called the SPICE framework, SPICE. Now, all of this should translate into, so that's the most important. Mr. Subramaniam's question is, does it make sense? So when I do things ethically, when I do things ethically, when I do things sustainably, it can translate into profit. So today, if you Google stakeholder centric companies, and the measurement yardstick was very interesting. They looked at Standard and Poor, the S&P index,
mhm.
the
S&P. Yeah.
state index, and then they looked at stakeholder centric companies. Stakeholder centric companies, which are firms of endearment, outbeat all these companies on an annualized basis and on a cumulative basis, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and 15 years. So the proof of the pudding is that when I do good business, quote unquote, good when I say ethical,
Mhm.
social, environmental, sustainable
Mm,
business, it definitely translates into meaningful, discernible profits. So that's one. Now, 2008, when Paul Polman took over as Unilever chairman, our CEO, he again brought in a very interesting phenomenon, Unilever Sustainable Living Plan. Now, again, it's not a feel good thing because all of these business approaches need to translate into measurable metrics. 10
yes.
years down the line, everything went right from market share to market cap to revenues to
Mm,
ROI, everything went up. So I think there's an extremely strong case for doing ethical, good business. And there are examples of companies across the globe, the Patagonias, the Unilevers.
mhm.
So there are companies that can do good business, good capitalism. So yes, Ellegosse's principles, which embody empowerment, education, equality, and all of that can be extremely translated into business profits and
This
business.
is well. Thank you for answering that. Um, the question over here is, as a result of all of the changes and shifts that are happening, Doctor, what do you reckon would be the best way that people can shift the way that they think business is to be done, or the way uh, governments operate, the way organizations operate? You are from the academic, obviously, but you're also in charge of opening up different branches. I mean, you've opened up in the UK, you've opened up in California as well, just lately. What do you get as a sense of what is required for people to actually look at empowerment and leadership and governance and legislation in a totally different light that is going to really take all of us to into prosperity, into having more peace, into having a values driven organization, so to speak? What do you reckon would be the best approach to actually do that?
I run a workshop for corporates,
Mm,
which is about resilient leadership.
mm,
But the context for the resilient leadership is in what we call today a
mm.
VUCA and Barney world.
Yes, yes,
VUCA
correct.
stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and
Mm,
ambiguity. And
mm,
post COVID, we added another four more letters to it, Barney,
mm,
little,
mm,
anxious, non-linear, and incomprehensible. So we live in a
yeah,
world that's extremely
yeah.
uncertain, extremely complex, extremely unmanageable. So, in that kind of a world, how do you and I, as leaders,
Mm,
lead meaningfully, right? So,
right.
that's the core of it. And then each of it has an antidote. So, a
Mm,
VUCA world is countered by a VUCA antidote. And the VUCA
mm,
antidote is vision,
mm,
understanding,
mm,
clarity, and agility. So
mm,
VUCA: vision, understanding, clarity, and agility. Let me put it in context.
mm,
So vision is our perspective, the way we look at
mm,
things. And during COVID, the
mm,
Chinese had a very interesting way of depicting the COVID crisis in
mm.
two alphabets. I wish I could show it to you. So two Mandarin alphabets. Both these alphabets together denote crisis. The
Mm,
first alphabet is danger, and the second alphabet is opportunity,
mm.
right? So, danger plus opportunity is crisis. The first letter is danger. Do I see the danger or do I also see the opportunity? Now, let me validate the statement. Matter of perspective.
Mm,
IBM,
mm,
General Electric, Hewlett Packard, Microsoft, Google, eBay, Airbnb, MTV, Burger King,
mhm,
CNN, AirAsia, and the list goes on and on.
mhm.
If I ask you, what is one thing common among all these global companies, you would be delighted and surprised to know that every one of these big names that I just reeled off were
Mm.
started in the middle of a recession. That's a big message.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which
Yes.
means there could be these challenges, there could be these complexities, there could be
Mm,
these uncertainties. But within
mm.
that, if leaders can train their perspectives and minds to look at the opportunity there, you're in for growth,
Exactly.
prosperity,
Exactly.
and abundance. Ironically, we live in a world of abundance, but we have a scarcity mindset. So it's our
Mindset.
mindset
Exactly.
scarce. The world is full of abundant resources and ideas. So I think it's a matter of perspective. It's also a conscious effort to know what we read, what we watch, what we see. I'll give you an example. So if you ask general public, is the world getting worse? Unfortunately, they must be reading the mainstream media, and the mainstream media would tell you the world is a terrible place to live.
Exactly.
But in reality, the world is not a terrible place. There are wonderful things happening in this wonderful world of
Round.
ours. There's so many good people doing so many good things, including ELLEGOSSSE and your G100 and all that.
so many people doing good stuff. But
mm,
unfortunately, the mainstream media panders to the negativity bias or the survival bias in our brains, and
mhm,
feeds us with all kinds of negative information. And I'll give you two sources, which, of course, viewers would love to probably explore.
mhm,
One is Factfulness, was a book written by an award-winning statistician.
mm,
Factfulness, which is about the
mm,
facts of the world around us. It's a must read, and an
mm,
updated version of, because the person died, the professor
mm,
passed away, but his
mm.
data is uploaded in a brilliant website called Mind Your Gap, right? So, Gap Minder. In fact, the word they use in the
Yeah.
website is gapminder.org. Gap Minder.
Okay.
So, what is Gap Minder? The gap is in our understanding of the world around, right? And it's fascinating, filled with statistics, not in the conventional way. They have a very interesting tool called Bubble Graph. So, it'll be well
Mm,
worth our viewers to watch it.
mm,
Gapminder. Go there, play for yourself, because it starts with a very interesting quiz about our
mm,
awareness of the world. And you'll be
mm.
surprised, shocked to see, man, my ignorance of the world around is so astronomical when I
Exactly.
first saw it. That's one. The second one is Oxford University, Our
Mhm,
World in Data. It's all data
mm,
driven. And if you see the actual data, the data is very encouraging. The data is very uplifting. The data
mm,
is very, focused and positive. It's run by a remarkable lady, and she has done a great job in terms of getting the message across to the world. In fact, 2 years back, she wrote a very interesting tongue-in-cheek title book called "It's Not the End of the World," because you have doomsday prophets, putting that fear into it.
exactly.
Data-driven, scientific-driven reality that, hey, it's not the end of the world. Okay,
Exactly.
so that it's a
I
matter of
think,
perspective. That's my
yeah,
message.
I think it's a brilliant one, and I believe in that personally myself. But it's also about helping people to see the value addition proposition that all of these amazing organizations, of course,
Yeah.
Eligos being one of those, and to be able to make a mindful shift as to how it is you perceive the world. Because I
Absolutely.
believe that your perceptions are the reflections that show up as your reality.
Yep. Oh,
Because
you said it.
otherwise,
And bang on.
and people should actually get that, because it's absolutely as simple as the nose on our faces. But people like to go through whatever drama. Um, my last question to you is: would you recommend the ELLEGOSSSE framework and principles to others, um, as to be part of their strategy, Doctor?
Absolutely. And the reason is very simple. As I said, I have a default brain that always looks at the goodness in everything. Serious. It's a gift. Many people ask me, how do you keep smiling when there's so many calamitous circumstances around? It's a gift. And it's a conscious gift that I've developed over years. So
Gift.
I want
Thank you.
other people to develop that, to look at the goodness in everything. There's a lot of evil that's going on. There's a lot of rotten things happening around. But among all of that, there's a lot of goodness that happens. And institutions like ELLEGOSSSE, G100, you guys are focused on making the world a better place. So
Place.
anybody who
Exactly.
wants to make the world a better place,
Better place.
I am I am there. I would love to be part of that. And so that's
Absolutely.
that's where it's driven. As I said, even in our business classes, we focus on the sustainability. We want to bring in practical sustainability solutions using the latest artificial intelligence technologies. So I
Mm,
think anything good for humanity is good for everybody. And Elagos is one such thing, which I believe is good for humanity. And certainly, I would strongly encourage and endorse institutions, corporations to, you know, embrace the principles of Elagos and make the world a better place. It's done one step at a time,
at a
one
time.
thought at
Exactly.
a time.
At a time. And as we were having our conversation the other day, when I was going to invite you to come in and actually share how Eligose has actually transformed, how it is that you have brought things into your organization, and how things have changed and shifted, you said to me Jennifer, we've got to take this to another level, if you remember.
Absolutely.
And I said, well, what did you have in mind, doctor? Now, could you tell us what it is? And it's just a thought, and now we're going to be working on it.
Yeah.
So,
A whole
what was
range
it,
of
doc?
the beautiful Chinese proverb that says a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. So you guys have already taken the initial steps of getting people across, getting the message across. Now, can we now look at some of these principles? Can we look at designing some community programs that can go reach grassroots? So, for example, we are associated with an Indian policy think tank called Janagraha, which is Bangalore
Okay.
based in India. And
Mhm.
it's very fascinating because it's run by CEOs, highly qualified, highly paid CEOs who
Mm,
quit their regular jobs, come
mm,
out and want to create the
mm.
impact. So these are people who are highly educated, highly paid, top level CEOs who quit their jobs and come out to create an influence think tank, which is about policies, which is about community development, which is about social justice, so on and so forth. You can Google that. Now, we are working
Yes.
very closely with them to create leadership competency. Now, translate the same model in ELLEGOSSSE's context. Can we create some programs like this for multiple groups,
Mm.
community groups, and create an impact? Right. So, at the end of the day, I think we have done, the world has
We've
given
done
us
the
enough.
groundwork. Yeah.
It's time for us to give back.
Now, I think
And
it is important. And
I,
thank you. You have mentioned so graciously, if I may add, that you would like to uh, have all of these programs once they get organized and sorted out to have it in your premises, which is such an
absolutely,
amazing thing. Thank you so much for that.
anytime,
Well,
any.
ladies and gentlemen, we were speaking to the most amazing global advisor that I have on my team, and who's also been so amazing with endorsing the ELLEGOSSSE framework and actually implementing all of it into his SP Jain School of Management, Global Management. All I can say is this is a living example of ELLEGOSSSE, and I would invite everyone who is still not been able to come on board and endorse it. Please reach out to me or the team that I have, and let's see what we can actually do together to create a place, a space, a planet, a world that is going to be more consciously aware, self aware, and also let us initiate the change that we know is possible. So, having said that, thank you very much, Dr. Christopher Abraham,
My
for
pleasure.
spending time with us. I know you're a very busy person. You fly out tomorrow. So, best of luck for your trip
Very
and have a
much.
wonderful rest of the day. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone who has joined us.
Bye bye.
And thank you for being over here, Subramaniam and Annabelle and Siji. God bless. Bye for now.
Bye bye.